Any person who tells you they know how this standoff ends is disingenuous at best. What they're fighting for and whom they're fighting for, once again, Trump will be able to rally his base even if they would be the ones they'll pay the biggest price.
When I was leader, we negotiated 4 times with Republicans, and we never had a shutdown. And so it's up to the Republicans whether they want a shutdown or not.
The 2 guys from Brooklyn tried to explain to the guy from Queens that he was hurting people who cannot afford dramatic increases in their health insurance costs. But trying to explain that to the guy from Queens isn't easy because he doesn't know those people who struggle with the cost of health care. The guys from Brooklyn went to local Brooklyn public schools. Chuck Schumer, now the Democratic leader of the United States Senate, is a proud graduate of James Madison High School on Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn. Hakeem Jeffries, now the Democratic leader of the United States House of Representatives, is a proud graduate of Midwood High School on Bedford Avenue, about 10 blocks north of Chuck Schumer's high school. And Donald Trump is the rich kid from Queens who now occupies an Oval Office he has stained with the vulgarity of his obsession with gold, and he went to boarding school. Boarding school is not the place where you meet people whose families have trouble paying the bills. The golf courses where Donald Trump spends his weekends, including this weekend, when he could have been working on funding the government, are not the kinds of places where Donald Trump's going to meet people who have trouble paying for their health insurance.
We never had a president like this. We have never had a president like this that actively pours gasoline on every fire and incites more violence and more hatred.
Right. Well, to be completely fair, all of these things fall into one category, which is not Epstein. Everything about this, I swear to God.
I think he's actively telling people like Thom Hartmann to commit crimes on tape to distract them.
Exactly, right. Like everything, I would argue that case has been around for a little bit, and I think he wanted it leaked out about Hartmann, instead of just leaving it buried, let a little of it out so they'll get distracted with that as well to just eat up airtime.
Operation Look Over There is proceeding.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And everything. There are 2 categories of information right now: Epstein and not Epstein, like spa and not spa. You know what I mean? He doesn't care if it's spa, just as long as it's not spa when it comes to Epstein. And that's why I've created a counter on my live stream that is counting the days since he took office that they have not released the Epstein files, and it updates every day automatically, just because it'll never end.
I'm just remembering, since your name is nuzzled into my breast along with John and Frangela. I just was thinking
it is a little crowded, I will say. I don't mind it, but
when you were talking about the history of trying to suppress, you remember when we were starting Sexy Liberal Tour, there were theaters that had conservative boards or whatever and wouldn't allow Sexy Liberal Tour into the theater. So I mean, you're right. They've tried this. Trust me, it's not hate speech. It's speech they hate that they don't want to hear.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, and again, that's the issue with the First Amendment, and it's something that across the board, a lesson that everybody has to learn equally, or it doesn't work. And so the right has been hiding behind this wall of they won't allow me to be openly racist at work without me getting fired, which is the purview of a private organization that doesn't want their speech infringed by an employee, which is or YouTube kicking somebody off because it'll eat advertising dollars. It's not the public square; it's a private thing. They have the right to kick you off. That's their rules. They can set their terms of service. There's a difference between that and the government doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a very distinct difference between the actions of YouTube kicking off Nick Fuentes or somebody like that and the president of the United States threatening networks if they don't kill comedy that offends him, which I think we should have how you have a million man march kind of a thing in response to these things? We need a million joke march. Everybody needs to post a joke about Donald Trump, whether just I don't care, from a knock-knock joke to your favorite line to it, anything like that. That's what everybody needs to do all day, every day.
Yeah.
Just at least once a day, mock the fact that the emperor has no clothes. And he looks like a burnt circus peanut.
Just got that in at the buzzer. Michael Eisner, former CEO of Disney, blasted his successor for the decision to suspend Kimmel's show, characterizing it as caving to an out-of-control intimidation from Trump's administration. He also apologized for the 1995 cancellation of the Stephanie Miller Show and also the meltdown of Hal Sparks' musical equipment as he was auditioning to be the musical.
Fried my musical
DJ
career
on
and
that.
seized it up for a decade.
Yeah.
Sure.
Really? I did not know this.
You didn't know that?
He's told this story a million times. He auditioned to be my, DJ or my whatever.
I never knew this.
Yes, and he burned.
I was going to be her musical accompaniment because they didn't want to do a whole band, so they were trying to find out that literally it was like calling all one-man bands. And so I would play guitar. I had a microphone, a headset microphone, and a keyboard, and I could play all the stuff by myself, like this kind of cheap version of the late night band.
Yes.
Right.
Stan's Anton Fig. And they did it in this warehouse in Burbank, someplace near Glendale or whatever. And it literally blew a fuse or something, fried all my equipment.
Wow.
And my biggest investment was this $3,000 Korg keyboard that I had put all my money in from Nightstand, the show I had done.
And you know what?
And I was like, I'm going to do this, and it cooked it.
When we hired a fantastic African-American guy named Hammy, who was fantastic, and you never screamed DEI hire. So, I'm just going to say I'm going to give you that. You never whined about it.
No. I was too busy reeling from the the destruction of my personal property and the inability to
From the financial loss.
We've talked about this. I almost owed you the Sexy Liberal tour, so you're welcome.
Yeah, you definitely did. Yes, absolutely.
Debt paid. Okay.
Right.
So Eisner did not mention Iger by name, but lamented the lack of leadership shown in the decision to suspend Kimmel's show immediately after Carr's aggressive yet hollow threatening of Disney, calling it yet another example of out-of-control intimidation by the government, suggesting this move put political and financial self-interest over free speech. He said, where has all the leadership gone if not for university presidents, law firms, managing partners, and corporate chief executives standing up against bullies? Who then will step up for the First Amendment? The suspending indefinitely of Jimmy Kimmel immediately after the chairman of the FTC's aggressive yet hollow threatening of the Disney is yet another example of out-of-control intimidation. Maybe the Constitution should have said, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press except in one's political or financial self-interest. And he said, by the way, he finds Jimmy Kimmel very talented and funny. So, I was saying last week, reportedly, somebody was retweeted Charlie Kirk who said, Jimmy Kimmel's not funny. And then, we did this for you, Charlie, or whatever. And someone else said he thought South Park was funny. So I'm like, is this where we are, Hal? Whatever Charlie Kirk found, the only people who have free speech are people that Charlie Kirk thought was funny. I mean, it's...
Well, and again, Charlie Kirk's death and the sadness of someone being murdered is yet another thing that falls into not Epstein. And so Donald Trump will latch onto that. It won't matter. It is literally just cycling through distraction again. Trump doesn't care. I mean, you can boil down his real reaction to Charlie Kirk's death to that moment when they asked him about it, and he went, by the way, I'm building the Epstein ballroom over here.
That's the part that Jimmy Kimmel aired.